A new book claims that due to technology, childhood, as we know it, has been rewired. And this rewiring of childhood is causing an epidemic of mental illness. Author of The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt, believes that we have overprotected children in the real world, and we've underprotected them in the virtual world. Author and tech educator Andrea Davis wholeheartedly agrees. She's here to share her main takeaways from the latest research, what she feels is most impactful and important for parents to know. It's so great to have you in studio, Andrea. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to be here.
You're a powerful voice and teacher in this space, and we're excited to hear your summary and your interpretation of this book that is getting a lot of buzz. So author of The Anxious Generation, Jonathan Haidt, wrote that we need to roll back the phone-based childhood and restore more play-based childhood in the real world. Do you agree with that statement?
100%.
Amen. Yeah.
So kids and teens are spending between 7 to 9 hours per day on a screen. So what we have to look at is what's the opportunity cost there? What are they not getting when they're spending that much time on a screen, right?
Yeah.
So while tech has changed, what kids need has not.
Has not changed at all.
Exactly.
It's so interesting to me, and I'd be curious your thoughts on just, this is my observation, but I feel like we're making more progress, right?
Yes.
We have these conversations, and you're speaking with like-minded parents who are kind of linking their arms around this very idea, and yet with all the buzz his book is getting, I was shocked to peruse some of the comment boards. There are still parents saying, can't put the genie in the bottle, too late, too little. Does that surprise you that there's still this conflict, that we're still at odds around these statistics or this truth?
I'm not surprised just because it feels so challenging for parents, but I think parents are going to catch on as they start to see this collective action that, hey, this is what my kids' friends are doing, and that's really what they need.
Jonathan has 4 recommendations that we'll touch on here today. I'd love to, again, get your expert opinion. More unsupervised play, more independence, that's on his list. Do you agree?
Yes, exactly. So they're encouraging kids to get out and have more risky play. So again, his whole idea is that we have overprotected kids in the real world and underprotected them in the virtual world. So getting out there and climbing trees and riding their bikes to their friends' houses, those are the things that kids need to really build that resilience that they're missing.
I have a really adventurous 5-year-old, and frequently by family members and even other parents, well-meaning parents at the park, they're kind of looking at me like, is that your kid climbing that? You know what I mean? It does take a little bit of, I think, parental bravery to allow that independence because society has swung in such a different direction.
Exactly, and it does. And I think it is just parents collectively kind of saying, our kids need this. They're going to be better off by climbing a tree.
What do you think of the guideline that's being pushed that there should be no smartphones introduced until high school?
Yeah, I love it. So I used to teach junior high before I stayed home with my kids. And you look at that age, and it's just this age where they're discovering who they are. And I can't think of a worse time to put a smartphone into a kid's hands. And so that's so challenging. But if parents are collectively saying, hey, we're going to wait until high school to hand over a phone, then the kids are just going to be so much better off.
I think it's a relief as a parent to start to hear some numerical guidelines. I think previously until, I don't want to say until this particular book, but until I think this latest wave of conversation, it's been, oh, every child is different. You'll know. I appreciate kind of the hard, fast guidelines. And another one that's being tossed out there is this idea of no social media before age 16.
Yeah, exactly. And we know there's like no magic age, but you think about this age of 16, they're starting to drive, they're getting jobs, they're kind of like starting to take control of their lives. Yeah. And of course, every child is different, and social media affects people differently in different ways, even adults. And so knowing your child is so important. But I think 16 at least gives us this baseline of like, hey, let's wait till our kids are really more emotionally mature and ready.
Another wave gaining momentum and getting a little bit of noise as of now is this idea of phone-free schools. Now, I didn't know, are phones allowed in a lot of schools?
Yes, they are. And a lot of schools have policies where they'll say they can't be seen. But if you walk in any school, the kids are pulling them out. They'll have a book out and they'll have the phone behind it. It's a really hard thing for teachers to police.
To enforce, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so if you look at other countries, France, Italy, other countries are starting to make these bans on phone-free schools. And global organizations have come out and said, hey, we agree that the best things for our students really in this learning environment is to just completely have the phones put away in the morning. And there are pouches they're magnetic pouches by a company called Yonder. The kids can put them away. And schools that have done this have been like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
our students are talking at lunch again. And what does that do for our kids' mental health? It does a lot.
It sort of feels obvious, I think, as
Yes.
we spell it out, but it is going to take parental support, right? The
Yes.
schools and government can only do so much. Andrea, thank you for your insight. Where can people go to learn more from you?
Yes, so you can go to betterscreentime.com. We also have an evaluation that parents can use when their kids do start asking for a phone, because we might think, okay, well, we're gonna wait until high school.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean your kid isn't going to start asking. So we have this evaluation that you can give to your kids and ask things like, you know, do I do my homework on my own? Do I do my chores? But there's also a side for the parents. So have we done our part as parents to prepare them for this big step? And so you can get that on our website at betterscreentime.com. That will help you when
Yes.
your kids start begging.
Because they will, and they
will.
do.
Yes.
And that sounds like a good self-evaluation for both parties involved. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank
We'll link
you.
you over to that evaluation from our website.